This was the actual swab.
How stupid can you be?
Mostly a
How
protest.
do you think you are?
Qasem Soleimani was no ordinary general. The U.S. officially classified him as a terrorist, but in Iran, he was a national hero.
He was a war hero.
He's regarded as personally incredibly brave. The troops love him.
I was trying to think of somebody, and I was thinking of de Gaulle.
Smart, charismatic, ruthless, strategic, and bold. His power made Iranians proud.
You're watching CNN special live coverage of what can only be described as an historic day.
It will be a busy and historic day ahead.
It was a historic day on Capitol Hill. This is a historic day here in the nation's capital. A historic day, another historic day. This is history unfolding.
There's a sacramental quality to this. There's a ritual.
I'm so glad Chris used the word ritual.
Just the ceremony of it, walking over, delivering the articles of impeachment.
There is something almost religious to it.
I think there's also something about the sort of the excommunication aspect of this thing. In the French Revolution, did the guy getting his head taken off hear the drum roll? Why is there a drum roll?
Somebody tweeted recently that actually with the money he spent, he could have given every American $1 million.
I've got it. Let's put it up on the screen. Bloomberg spent $500 million on ads. U.S. population, 327 million. Don't tell us if you're ahead of us on the math. He could have given each American $1 million and have had lunch money left over. It's an incredible way of putting it.
It's an incredible way of putting it. It's true. It's disturbing.
How worried should Americans be about coronavirus?
Coronavirus is not going to cause a major issue in the United States.
How worried should the average American be given these flu numbers when it comes to coronavirus?
Right. So the risk in this country is still deemed to be low. Okay, that is the risk.
You know, the flu is already widespread in the U.S., and it really is much more deadly, is it not?
How worried should Americans be? Should they panic?
No, Americans do not need to panic.
There's an important context we need to keep this in, and that is that the flu is more deadly.
Yeah.
So actually, the virus has become more dangerous because it can infect more people. It's more easily able to take root into communities. So it's changing in a worse way.
This is going to be catastrophe upon catastrophe.
President Trump wrote on Twitter, "Don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life."
What does that mean, don't be afraid of it?
Everyone should be afraid of COVID.
Oh, my goodness, Nicole. When I saw that Trump, I literally was overwhelmed.
The White House and their calculation, this is about trying to instill a sense of normalcy. Then we all know that life can't really feel like it's back to normal. Americans can't feel that they have the virus under control.
We have absolutely zero chance, and by zero chance, I mean zero, Z-E-R-O, zero chance of moving past this with Donald Trump in that job.
And a far more serious scene. Watch these images. Really just an ugly, dangerous scene at the state capitol in Michigan.
As we look at this extreme group.
They're not protests. These quote-unquote protests. I don't even think that that's the right word because protests are supposed to be peaceful.
I'm not embarrassed to say that I was afraid.
It's not clear what they're demanding to infect other people, demanding to make other people sick.
Who the hell do you think you are? I don't understand what is wrong with people. Stay at home.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
What you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis.
You know, Brooke, I think this is a march, really.
As they're coming off, it's peaceful. They're saying peaceful protest.
People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Thank goodness for the looters, man.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
It's the First Amendment. You just gotta look it up.
NASCAR is investigating a horrible incident.
A horrifying, racist, jarring, disturbing,
heinous, perverted,
ugly,
Cowardly,
disgusting reminder of who, again, this sport is for.
A noose found in the garage stall of Bubba Wallace.
Do you think it's surprising?
No, it's not surprising at all.
It's just not shocking to anybody.
And NASCAR is often considered a sport that is tethered to white folk, tethered to the South.
As much as NASCAR may try to distance itself from that, it's a living, breathing part of their sport.
Yeah, it seems like he was just the kind of athlete, the kind of star that was perfectly cast on the Los Angeles Lakers.
I think we were looking at potentially a trial run for a kind of a genuine attempt to through intimidation and potentially through force to try to steal this election.
We have to be prepared for things that this nation has never faced before. And unfortunately, that could involve the use of, these forces.
This is, I guess, the president's own version of martial law, since the real military has kind of pushed back from doing that.
Is there anybody, having watched Donald Trump for the last 3.5 years, who doesn't think that Donald Trump would try to employ martial law if he thought it was the only way he could stay in power?
Today, President Trump is going to South Dakota for what has become a controversial trip to Mount Rushmore.
The mother of all photo ops, Mount Rushmore. And we know why this president just can't resist going there.
Where he'll be standing in front of a monument of 2 slave owners and on land wrestled away from Native Americans.
He will inevitably and predictably talk about our heritage. In other words, he will talk about he is the protector of white America.
Questions have really been raised about Thomas Jefferson in particular, but also George Washington for their holdings of slaves.
In some ways, Donald Trump is a reflection of the rot that has been at the heart of our this fragile experiment since its beginning.
Jamie, I see you standing next to the guy you're going to beat right there. Maybe. Lindsey Graham.
Tim Scott.
Jamie?
Tim Scott.
Who's that?
That's Tim Scott.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's the other senator, Tim Scott. What am I saying? Big mistake. Mistaken identity, sir. Sorry.
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement. Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out. Happens.
Now the other side of the story involving CNN anchor Chris Cuomo and a man on a bicycle.
I said, you're supposed to be quarantining. What are you doing out? What are you doing with all these people?
I don't want some jackass, loser, fat tire biker to be able to pull over and get in my face and in my space.
This was the actual swab that was being used to fit up that double-barrel shotgun.
I wish I had a magnifying glass. Where is it?
I don't know, but whenever you tell me you're looking for something around me and you say you're using a magnifying glass, I get nervous.
There's clear disdain that I have for this president, from his paid-off porn star to Russia-lies to racism in Charlottesville. Children in cages. You are pathetic. Every day, this president looks more ridiculous. Wake up! Talk about ditzy. Talk about a ditzy, stupid, botched response. It's idiotic. And you're terrible. You're wrong. How stupid can you be? If you're sensing a little intensity here, I'm a little amped up.
Say it directly. Is this an attempt by the president, do you believe, to interfere in the election?
Absolutely. They will destroy the Postal Service. They'll do it because they don't want people to vote.
We only have reports so far of these machines being removed.
How many mailboxes were removed? Where are the mail sorting machines? What did you replace them with? Are they being replaced?
We're on to everything he's doing.
All of this seems perfectly planned to disenfranchise people.
He is, in effect, putting his knee on the neck of American democracy.
This will be the shame of the Republican Party for generations.
I was writing all these thank you notes when the show started, and I've got people now who just got them. I've been on for 4 weeks.
The only way that we restore fairness is for Congress to pass an act expanding the court.
There is nothing in the Constitution that says there has to be 9 Supreme Court justices.
If Joe Biden wins, Democrats can stack the courts.
Are you in favor of trying to expand the numbers of justices on the Supreme Court?
Pack the Supreme Court.
Potentially changing the number of justices in the court.
Adding seats to the Supreme Court and getting rid of the filibuster. Do you support those two things?
Everybody sticks
We're going to
with
have to blow up the entire system.
Just that traffic incident. It seems to me that that would be unlawful on a million different levels.
This is how democracies die. I mean, there could be violations of voter intimidation. It could be aggravated assault if someone was waving a gun at the bus. There could be attempted false imprisonment.
This is deadly serious.
Imagine your family is on that bus.
Your life could have been in danger. Your family's life could have been in danger.
There are people who were on that bus whose lives were in jeopardy.
Today, police in San Marcos, Texas, said the online footage made it appear that a white SUV was the at-fault vehicle, and the victim was, in fact, a pro-Trump truck.
Really, your strength is in traveling around the country and connecting with people. You can't do any of that right now. Mr. Vice President, does that worry you?
I don't know. It's like watching a yo-yo. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's like watching.
It feels that way. I want to ask. President Trump says offensive things. He never apologizes for it. Is there a double standard here?
When you hear these remarks, suckers, losers, what does it tell you about President Trump's soul?
Why isn't Joe Biden angrier about all of this?
Joe Biden, just a guy in his basement talking to a gal in hers. Do you think wearing a mask projects strength or weakness? Go ahead.
No, I probably best I don't.
Obviously, we're not going with the New York Post story right now on Hunter Biden.
This is really one of the stupidest October surprises I've ever seen.
It helps to really view this as storytelling, not so much as news coverage, but as political entertainment.
NPR explained, we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories.
Who even thought to make that story up?
It's a story that many intelligence experts say has all the hallmarks of a foreign interference campaign.
It looks like it's tied to Vladimir Putin in Moscow.
This is a Russian intelligence disinformation campaign.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Foreign intelligence operation.
Russian intelligence.
Rudy Giuliani was not fed passively Russian disinformation. He ordered it off the menu.
This is a classic example of the right-wing media machine.
And he's in the midst of a scandal.
He's not.
And he's taking... Of course he is,
no.
Leslie.
We should note Hunter Biden isn't running for president. That argument has been debunked.
There is no evidence that Joe Biden did anything wrong.
For all we know, these emails are made up.
It just lacks credibility.
Okay, I would love if you guys would start doing that digging and start doing that verification.
No, we're not going to do your work for you.
Character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters.
I don't know why I'm crying so much. I keep crying. I'm going to cry now. Go away from me.
You're going to make me cry.
I was talking to a Democrat who just said this also felt like the Avengers. It felt like we're being rescued from this craziness that we've all lived through from the last 40 years. And now here are the superheroes to come and save us all.
I mean, all I have to say is everybody look up because it's a different way of living now, right?
If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason.
We don't care who you are. We don't care if you voted for us or not.
It's a vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered